NTA correspondent gives update on ECOWAS Council of Ministers meeting in Accra. A smooth withdrawal of 3 Sahelian countries tabled down. Minister of Budget and Economic Planning taxes newly formed Presidential Committee on Population and Housing Census to identify funding sources.
Conduct a true review of the existing census budget.
Nigerian Customs Service announces revenue generation of 1.75 trillion naira in first quarter of 2025.
The services revenue collection for the first quarter 2025 total 1 trillion 751 billion.
Welcome to the news desk 3 on NTA News 24. We're reaching you live in Abuja. I'm Comfort Modu, and report reaching us says Governor Sharif of Delta State and PDP stakeholders in the state defector to APC. Official declaration is to be made on Monday, 28th of April 2025. Our correspondent is putting that report together, and as soon as he's done, we will have it ready for you. All right, let's turn our attention to Accra, Ghana, where ECOWAS Council of Ministers emergency meeting is underway in the country to ensure a smooth transition of the withdrawal of the 3 Sahelian countries as a contingency plan for the regional bloc. And Garba Natala is standing by for an update on strategies put in place by the ministers of the West African sub-region.
Thank you for joining us here in Accra, Ghana. A lot is actually happening, and the ECOWAS Council of Ministers is just a fallout of the 66th ordinary session of the Council of Ministers that was held recently, where President Tinubu instructed them to provide and work out modalities on the withdrawal of the 3 Sahelian states, that is Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. And so far, they have been compelled to suspend some of the ongoing programs that are currently going on in those Sahelian countries. Actually, one of the key projects that they have achieved in Burkina Faso especially is the West African Health Organization known as WAHU. There is also the sports center in Burkina Faso. In Mali, there is an animal center, an animal health center also. So they are now considering the suspension of various programs in line with those organizations. They are also considering suspending the free movement protocol between ECOWAS and those 3 Sahelian states. The issue of disengagement of staff in those countries, which the leaders here say they are compelled to do so. It is not their wish, but rather the wish of the decision of the 3 Sahelian states. There is also many and variety of economic development programs and projects going on with those 3 Sahelian states, which they are compelled to suspend. It's against their wish, it's against their will, but they have to succumb to what the 3 Sahelian states actually want and they are asking. And they are actualizing it now. After they have finished discussions, they are expected to bring out a memoranda which they will submit before their principals. And we, the journalists, are also expecting to hear from them on what resolutions they have taken in order to absorb the shocks of the separation between ECOWAS and the 3 Sahelian states. For now, they are in discussion. I wouldn't want to preempt what they are doing. It's better the leaders inform us on what they have ruled out and the kind of economic development they have streamlined in order to forge ahead, and they believe the regional bloc will emerge stronger. That is it for now from here, and all these adjustments, according to the leaders, is to ensure that they stick to the current realities of what is happening. They have to make all these adjustments in order to forge ahead and emerge stronger.
All right, Garba Natala there from Accra, Ghana, from the Council of Ministers meeting there on the three countries that are withdrawing from the regional bloc. We'll join him again to get the conclusion of that meeting. That's the resolution. For now, Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Bagudu, says the newly formed Presidential Committee on Population and Housing Census and the ad hoc technical body is committed to its task to identify funding sources and ensuring proper planning for the upcoming remuneration of Nigerians. Following its inauguration last week, Bagudu highlights the team's primary assignment to provide informed guidance on financing strategies, institutional coordination, and practical timelines for the census. He emphasized that National Population Commission work is to plan, coordinate, and conduct population and housing census in the country. Having established a strong foundation, the minister expects members to fulfill their responsibilities.
Which are: 1. Conduct a true review of the existing census budget to align it with current fiscal realities and national priorities. 2. Recommend feasible sources of funding for the census, clearly distinguishing between domestic resources and external partnerships. 3. Develop a comprehensive resource mobilization strategy, taking into consideration engagement with potential development partners, international agencies, and domestic private sector entities. 4. Assess existing preparations, logistics, and technical capacities of the National Population Commission and recommend areas requiring immediate strengthening. This no doubt include any other government agency that can be of assistance to the
And for a smooth process and enumeration, Bagudu is chairing the committee with the MPC chairman, Nasir Kwara, as secretary, alongside members including the member of finance and coordinating minister of the economy, Olawale Edun, Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, and the executive chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue, Dr. Zak Adedeji. Nigerian Customs Service has announced a total revenue generation of 1.75 trillion naira for the first quarter of 2025. This reflects a 29.96% increase compared to the same period in 2024. The Comptroller General of the service, Adewale Adeniyi, disclosed this while giving an update of the activities of the service in 2025, and the revenue performance for the first quarter of the year exceeds its target of 1.64 trillion naira by 106.5 billion naira. He attributed the success to the impact of ongoing reforms introduced by the federal government.
The services revenue collection for the first quarter 2025 totaled 1,751,502,252,298 naira 5 kobo.
The Comptroller General pledged to sustain some of its programs, like the recent expansion of the B. Odogu clearance platform and launch of the authorized economic operators, which emphasize have aided trade facilitation with plans to extend the initiatives to other parts of the country. Others are Director General, National Identity Management Commission, Bisoye Koka Odushote, and Principal Private Secretary to the President, Hakeem Muri Okunola, and the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Administration, Office of the Chief of Staff, Temilola Adekunle Johnson. Now, process for the commencement of the commercial flight operations at the Gateway Agro Cargo International Airport has begun with an official visit of officials of the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency who carried out validation of facilities at the airport. Hakeem Jimo reports.
The flight check by senior personnel of the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency was to evaluate facilities at the airport to ensure it conforms with the proposed procedure defined for the airport in line with international best practice. The team leader, Miri Selzing, who commended the Ogun State government for the laudable project, says he is impressed with the state of facilities at the airport.
We have seen the procedure that are drawn. We've checked it on the air, and then we'll analyze when we get back to our base, and then we'll be able to come up with recommendations for modifications where necessary. About 4 kilometers runway, that's quite interesting.
The Commissioner for Works and Infrastructure in Ogun State, Ade Akinsoya, is optimistic that the airport will soon be ready for commercial operations.
This is one of the last elements of things we need to do to get the commercial approval. They've gone through what is called the 23 and the 05, checking, identify all the key, what is known as the waypoints along the way. So once the flight check everything, this will be developed and put on the internet for anybody who wants to come from anywhere in the world.
For the Commissioner of Works, the airport, which is 97% completed, has ultra-modern state-of-the-art facilities at the control tower, terminal building, firefighting section, among others. From Elishan Remo in Ogun State, Hakeem Jimo, NTA News.
The Petroleum Products Retail Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria congratulates the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority on its recent milestone of licensing 83 refineries with a combined total refining capacity of 1,124,500. The breakdown of the licenses includes 8 refineries with licenses to operate, 30 refineries with licenses to construct, 45 refineries with license to establish and speaking in Abuja. The national president of the Petron, Dr. Billy Gillis Harry, emphasized the importance of making crude oil available for local refineries. Dr. Harry says making crude oil available for local refineries will increase domestic production of petroleum products, thereby reducing reliance on imported products and conserving foreign exchange. The statement signed by Dr. Joseph Obele, National Public Relations Officer of Petron, says other advantages include creation of jobs and stimulation of the economy. He noted that it will also lead to growth as local refineries will be able to operate at optimal capacity and contribute significantly to the Nigerian's GDP. And the statement says significant decline in petrol imports from 44.6 million litres per day in August 2024 to 14.7 million litres per day by April 13, 2025 is a testament to the success of this initiative. With more stories ahead right after this break.
Afi Furniture Easter sales is on. Enjoy unbeatable furniture deals with up to 50% off on our luxurious Turkish sofas starting from just 2.8 million naira. Get a smart bed for only 7 million naira plus 25% off our luxury collections. That's not all. Enjoy free delivery and installation in Abuja, Lagos, Enugu, and Kano. Visit any of our showrooms or shop online to take advantage of these incredible offers.
The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria has concluded arrangements to commence the 2025 Hajj operations with the airlift of pilgrims to Saudi Arabia starting from May 9th. State House correspondent Abdulrahman Jibila reports that the update was disclosed after the Commission's brief. The Commission briefed Vice President Kashim Shettima at the Presidential Villa on preparations for the 2025 Hajj operations.
A meeting in preparation for a spiritual exercise, and Vice President Kashim Shettima charged the commission to ensure its success. Board members, led by the executive chairman, said arrangements have been made in Mecca, Medina, and other cities for a hitch-free 2025 exercise, part of which is the securing of enough bed spaces and adequate feeding. May 9th is scheduled for airlift of the first flight to Saudi Arabia through Medina, and intend to conclude the airlift by May 24th and start the return by 13th of June to 2nd of July.
We came here just to brief the Vice President about the preparedness for the Hajj operation for this year, 2025.
I can assure all Nigerian pilgrims that they are all in a safe hand. Adequate arrangements have been made for both their accommodation, their feeding, and also their transportation within the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and most importantly, their airlifting in and out of Saudi Arabia.
All our centers across the nation, booklets are ready, waiting for pilgrims to come and apply, and it's issued to them accordingly.
Adequate arrangements have been made for the airlift of over 40,000 pilgrims, including officials from the states, and 13,000 others from other tour operators in Nigeria. From the State House, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
The Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, has ordered an investigation into the alleged extortion of 5.2 million by NSCDC officers. The officers reportedly targeted a group of young men traveling from Ado-Ekiti to Akure. In a statement, the minister insists there will be no cover-up, stressing that any officer found guilty will face the full wrath of the law. He reaffirmed the ministry's commitment to building a disciplined and patriotic paramilitary force that upholds justice and serves with integrity. And following the directive, the Commandant General of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Ahmed Abubakar Audi, has ordered the immediate suspension of the officers allegedly involved in the extortion case currently circulating on social media. This follows the directive of the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, who called for thorough investigation into the viral report alleging that NSCDC personnel extorted 5.2 million from a young man traveling from Ado-Ekiti, Ekiti State to Akure, Ondo State. In a statement issued by the Corps National Spokesperson Babawale Afolabi, the Commandant General condemned the conduct of the officers, describing the actions as a cross violation of the Corps Code of Ethics and Standard Operating Procedure. Consequently, the officers have been directed to report at the Corps' national headquarters in Abuja for detention, pending the outcome of a disciplinary investigation. You're watching the news desk at 3 on NTA News 24. Here's a recap of our major stories. NTA correspondent gives update on ECOWAS Council of Ministers meeting in Accra, a smooth withdrawal of 3 Sahelian countries tabled down. Minister of Budget and Economic Planning taxes new formed Presidential Committee on Population and Housing Census to identify funding sources.
Conduct a true review of the existing census budget.
Nigerian Customs Service announces revenue generation of 1.75 trillion naira in first quarter of 2025.
First quarter 2025, total 1,751 billion.
4 persons have been reportedly killed following an attack by unknown gunmen who invaded a Swale community of Bayelsa State, leaving tears and sorrow as the community mourns their loss. Gift Ogbe followed up this story. Let's find out what she has found out so far.
32-year-old Bumken Agada, a native of Swale community, a family man and furniture designer, was amongst the victims of the unknown gunmen attack on Saturday, 16th April 2025. Narrating the unfortunate ordeal, Mrs. Joy Agada, wife of the deceased, and Madam Abajigwe Joy, recounted how the sound of gunfire shattered the peace of their homes, causing mourning, panic, and chaos, which led to the death of her husband.
He came up from work, he was so tired. So with that tiredness, he didn't lock, he just pushed it. He didn't even close it very well. So I ran out with the baby and I locked the door. I dragged him inside. He now sat on that chair. So me, I was just busy locking the doors. Then the next thing, they shot him from the window. I thought it was the baby. I lie her down, I shook her because she was crying heavy. Like I said, Jesus, they don't shoot my pikin. I lie her down, I shake, it was not her. When I turned, it was him.
So as we lie down there and start to bang on the door to break down the door. One enter inside the house, one start to shoot inside the room. As soon as they shoot inside the room, I come to beg and say, I beg, no shoot. And my children, and me and my children, I ain't inside the house. I beg, no shoot, I beg. No shoot, now my husband then they I beg, no shoot. I mean, after I shoot finish for the backyard, I mean, come waka, come go. After like 5 minutes, somebody start to shout. At that time, I used to know, say they don't shoot person for inside my kitchen.
Really want army? Yes. Really when police come here, when it's just a thing have happened, they come and read the community. After reading the community, they will make us to go and spend money and bail your man. And spending a lot of money on that.
We really need the state government at least to bring more security into this Swale community, to restore more peace.
The government work with information. If they have any information and they don't relate it with the government will not be able to do anything.
Efforts to speak to the police public relations officer by Bayelsa State Command was unsuccessful as at the time of filing this report. In Yenegua, Gift Ogbe, NTA News.
Experts in construction have continued to recommend urgent reforms, stiffer penalties to defaulters on compliance with building codes and clamping down on quackery in the profession as necessary prevention strategies to significantly reduce the risk of the continuous collapse we keep having in the country. And this is while on Good Morning Nigeria, they also insist that building collapse is a national emergency that requires a coordinated approach to address this issue. Ulushe Adiagbo reports.
While there are incidents of building collapse in Nigeria, official records show that only 8 has been recorded this year. For Niemant Mule, chairman Nigerian Society of Engineers, Lagos State, she links the recent collapse in the state to building stress.
We need to have a robust monitoring system where we will have a database. Building when it was constructed, what they are designed like. Some buildings are designed to last for 50 years, some are 100, and that's why we see some buildings that are being renovated, and that was the case of the collapse that happened over the weekend. It's an old building. And from all the various cases we have studied, we discovered that at any of these stages, building can collapse. The recommendations cut across almost every profession and every sector. The one that concerns bringing out specialists that takes care of approval of building plan. It's left for the government to know who to be given that responsibility of approving the building plan. For us, we have brought out a recommendation.
Other guests on the program explained that limited monitoring of the construction value chain is an anomaly that must be checked.
When you have a developer who goes and obtains substandard materials, who goes and hire a quack, who goes and, all these things, like we are saying, who is culpable? the culpability now is on this, and the law does not give us the powers to deal with them. So
because you are a registered engineer, you have something at stake in case there is any building collapse. Your certificate will be withdrawn, and that means that is the end of your professional life.
The guests unanimously agreed that input of professionals into designs and eventually construction of buildings must be mandatory. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
That report concludes the news at this time. Many thanks for watching. I'm Comfort Amodu.